It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body. Supplements that get you moving and keep you moving. That make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world. And you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Welcome to Three's Global Wellness Wednesday. Of course, depending on where you're tuning into, it might be a Thursday morning. Tonight, you can expect some great knowledge from my friend Marisa Mangiameli, an integrative health and functional nutrition coach, as well as a slew of health testimonials from real people with real results. I am your host, Kassy Havel. I'm from a small town in Central Texas. I'm a mom of 4 adult kids and a Mimi to 2 amazing little boys. I am a nurse by trade. I've been a nurse for close to 30 years. I found 3 because I don't know. Have you ever had some struggles in your health? We did as a family. I mean, we were a healthy family of 6, and I went to work one day, and when I came home, my whole world completely changed. My husband had eaten some bad chicken, and when he did that, I did not know that the body would attack itself. It became this autoimmune disorder where instead of the body attacking the bacteria from the bad chicken, it attacked his nervous system. And even being a nurse for as long as I had been at the time, and caring for 4 kids and going through pregnancies, I didn't really understand a health crisis until that moment. It radically changed our lives. We went from being in an emergent situation to the ICU to months in the hospital, and then months following doing physical therapy and occupational therapy. And I still remember 3 years after the day I came home and my life completely changed, sitting in a neurologist's office and him saying, well, congratulations. Your husband doesn't ever have to come back and see us because he has recovered. And I said, wait a second. Yesterday, he totally forgot he had kids. Like, that's not recovery. And he said, well, out of the cases that have received Guillain-Barré, your husband is considered a success case. This will be your new normal. And I thought, okay, I've been in healthcare and cared for so many people during my career, working in labor and delivery, working in the ER, working in the OR, working in clinics. You cannot tell me that this is the best that healthcare has to offer. Like, oh, you're the best you're going to be, and so we're no longer going to be here to support you. And that was when I started my journey into proactive wellness. It took me about 8 years to find what you're going to be hearing about now because I was living also the world of trying to find a better solution within the healthcare world, modern medicine world. I went into administration where I thought that I could make changes from the top. And then when that didn't happen, I started even working with legislation and realized quickly that the healthcare system that we experience here in America, that there was some key piece that we were missing. I just didn't know what it was until I found proactive wellness. And that is the fact that all disease processes stem from four things: malnutrition, toxicity, oxidation, and inflammation. And if we can address those, we can make huge strides on how people feel and the quality of their life. So, although we're here to share with you our experiences, I want you to understand that three does not cure, treat, or diagnose any diseases. And because we're all really busy, I want to go ahead and bring Marisa on, and we're gonna, just kind of talk a little bit so that we can share with you, how we're dealing with wellness and merging it in whenever you have a crazy busy lifestyle. Because let's face it, one of the biggest struggles that we have is that life is full of family and work and just whatever you have going on in your life. It's adding nutrition in sometimes can be a struggle. So let's get down to it. So Marisa, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Um, when
Thank
when you
you
and I
so much
first
for
met,
having me.
when you and I first met, I was like, okay, an interactive health and nutrition board certified health and wellness coach. Like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you do. And I'm sure that there are other people on here that have heard those terms, but were like, what exactly is that? So can you shed a little light for us?
Yeah, for sure. So I do interactive health and functional nutrition. I work with, I'd say, two categories of people: those that are in a state of chronic disease and illness, diabetes, metabolic disorders, autoimmune stuff. I usually work alongside their healthcare team to help them improve their quality of life and feel better through lifestyle shifts. And a piece of that involves nutrition. And there's lots of other pieces to that because there's so much more to our life, right? It's how we sleep, how we have relationships, our how we feel about our work and our education and things that stress us in our lives and our family and our movement. There's lots of moving pieces to it. And so that's a good piece of my practice. And then the other piece is just helping the everyday person who's busy and on the go feel better, be a little more connected to themselves and utilize tools, whether it's meditation or grounding or supplements, whatever it is that fits their need state and also fits their lifestyle, to just feel their best and really support their bodies and provide the body with. Our bodies are like just miraculous at healing and detoxing, and our bodies want to thrive, and so it's just helping provide tools and information to people so that they can thrive. That's a big part of what I do.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, really, you're like all in one. Like it's a one-stop shop for you. I
It does
love
feel
that.
that way sometimes, for sure. Yes.
I love that. Um, One of the questions that I get a lot is that, when the world is really busy, or here in America, we live on convenience. I mean, would
Oh
you agree
yes,
with that? That if it's
absolutely.
convenient, we're gonna do it,
Yes.
right? So, in a world where people are all, interested in the convenience of food, the quickness of it, and we all know that that leads to huge nutritional gaps. So, how do you help your clients address malnutrition?
Oh, it's really multifaceted. And, the nutritional gaps are there obviously because of our lifestyle, but there's also a component that we can't avoid, which is our food system. So it's multifaceted even in why we don't have the nutrients our bodies need. As far as produce in our country, it's really geared towards and bred and produced for shelf life and size, not for nutritional quality. And so even the USDA graphs showed the decrease in nutritional quality of our produce over time. And so even when you have people that eat really well, this happens so often, and I've lived this, they eat really well and they have a clean diet and their lifestyle is pretty on point, but they still just don't feel good or they don't have the energy. It's because it's really hard to get the nutrients that we truly need from our food system. So that's a piece of it. And then the other piece is that, most people are on the go, whether they're your professionals, young professionals, or they're college students, running around to classes and not sleeping well, or they're moms with kids pulled in different directions, or they're entrepreneurs. I mean, starting new things and ideas. A lot of people are on the go, and time is our most valuable asset, right? So oftentimes we trade our time for convenience because our priorities are in other places. So it really looks very different for different people. I always want people to eat whole foods. I mean, that's my first line of approach, is how can we shift processed things in your day-to-day to whole foods, and how can we make that easy for you, And then the other piece is I'll have some people that, recently I'm working with a nurse, she's got 12-hour shifts, an hour commute, that's 14 hours out of her day, right? That she's
I remember
there
those
is
days.
no downtime. She doesn't even have time to eat lunch, right? So it's like, okay, we have to fit nutrition in a convenient way. How can we do that? And that's where supplements really can thrive, when you have the right product. I mean, the supplement industry is kind of the Wild West. So it took me a long time to get on board with really supporting something I believe in, because it took a long time to find something that had the quality and the independent third-party inspection and clinical studies backing it. I mean, what we have here is just so above and beyond, and I'm grateful, because I know that when I recommend it to somebody, it's clean. It has what it says it should have in it. And they can really trust the safety and efficacy and quality and purity of it all. So I start with that. If I have got someone in that space, it's like, okay, let's get you feeling better. Let's bridge the gap with a supplement. Are you on board with that? And then most people, when they start feeling better, they start making better lifestyle decisions, right? Because you have better energy, or you ache less, you sleep better. When you sleep better, you have more time in your day. Like it's all the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
The brain functions much better with sleep and nutrition.
All the things.
You touched on so many things just now, but let's dive in just a little bit so that they understand what you mean by clinical studies. So
Sure.
Maybe just share a little bit more specifics about the clinical studies that are attached to the 3 products.
I would love to, and I will do it in like a highlight version, because the clinical studies are like my favorite. I'm a science nerd. It's easy for me to just like vomit all of that onto people, and they're like, what? So 3 really invests a lot of time and money into backing our products and knowing that our products work. So the studies that we currently have available, we have an absorption study. I have really not been able to find another company that has done independent third-party cellular absorption studies on their products. So that is huge. It is in a world of its own. And what that means is that we actually know how our products as a whole, not as an ingredient, but as a whole, absorb at the cellular level in the body. That's really one of the biggest hurdles with supplements, is the absorption rate is usually very poor. And so you have to take a lot of it, or you just don't get the efficacy, and you're like, oh, I'm taking this, it's supposed to help, but I don't feel it, right? So I love that piece. We've got this really cool study that's an epigenetic study, and a lot of people aren't familiar with that, but essentially it's looking at things that turn up and turn down your genes, right? Like if you think of the genes like dimmer switches, there's certain genes that we want to shift up. We want to, if our energy is low, we want to turn those genes on that help us at a metabolic and cellular energy level. Inflammation's one we when it's up too high, we might want to dim that switch, right? When we're achy. Definitely. And we're not sleeping well, or we're having autoimmune things. And so this study looked at 8 genes that encompass overall wellness, energy levels, metabolic health, inflammation, and cognitive function. I mean, those four are just big, right? And
Right.
I love it because it looked at four of our products and it showed how they positively impact those genes. Again, I have not found anything like that. It's peer reviewed and published. No one else has that out there. So that was big for me. We've got a great, we have a great study in our Revive product that's looking at superoxide, and that's basically inflammation and how your muscles recover is what that's looking at. And really
Wow.
positive
Yeah.
results there. Just they're doing lots of stuff and there's more coming out. So
Yeah.
to me, that's really big. The company's only 2 years old, to see that they're investing the time and the money to really not just validate their product, but to understand, okay, how are our products working for people? Are they effective? Where can we make them better? I know Dr. Dana is just all about that. Where can we improve and be better? So to me, that just speaks volumes about the integrity of what we have here at Three.
Yeah, I also love that the products are listed in the physician's desk reference.
Yeah, it makes a big
And a lot
difference.
of that is reliant on those clinical studies too, right?
Yes. So the physician's desk reference, now called the prescriber's digital reference, is like the doctor's Bible for pharmaceuticals. For people who are not in healthcare, they often have no idea what the PDR is. And it does. You have to have independent clinical studies on the products themselves. There has to be independent clinical studies on the ingredients that you use, research showing they're effective for what you're using them for. There has to be a need in the healthcare space for what your product is doing. And it has to be novel. You have to curate it your own, and there can't be anything like it out there. So those are really really, really big. And there's only a 20 something non-pharmaceutical companies that are actually in the PDR. And so we're one of those 24. And we're the only one that has our whole nutraceutical line accepted. We even have one of our skincare products accepted. It's it's unheard of.
Right.
So it's just another level of incredible validation. And for me, where I work alongside healthcare, it's very important because physicians often are not really willing to support supplements, even if they believe, because they say, well, I can't put back that because I don't know what's in it. I don't know how effective it is. So with our products being in the PDR, they're able to take a good look and say, okay, yeah. And they're able to look in and really evaluate, is this going to be a problem with what you have going on, or contraindication with the medication or something? So it's very, very, very valuable.
Yes. I talk with so many physicians. Again, with my background, I was really looking for the piece that was kind of missing in modern healthcare. And so when I talk to physicians, it holds a lot of weight because they're used to supplements that don't make any active change for their patients. And so it's very interesting to watch the transition of non-belief in supplementation. To
Yeah,
being more open and understanding, yeah, I mean, if we could address that, I just didn't realize that was out there. Yeah.
absolutely. It really helps physicians bridge the gap too, and be able to have something they can recommend to their patients, and trust it, have trust in it.
Well, yeah, definitely, because people are becoming more aware of, deficiencies, and, it's being talked about more and more and more. And so I love that, providers have a solution like that. Okay, so I have another quick question for you. Maybe it's not so quick because it's one of our most passionate things to talk about, but the effects of environmental toxins and daily stressors on our life. Okay, so we know that we live in a world where we are exposed to tons of toxins every single day. And
Yes.
obviously, each of us are exposed to a lot of stressors every day. We're not going to talk about all the ones you're experiencing today, but from your perspective, how important is detoxification and antioxidant support in maintaining overactive people, which I guess is every single person out there. All of you that are watching, you're all overactive and living the best life that you can, but you need some extra help. So, how can they maintain their wellness? And help combat this toxic environment in which our culture has kind of allowed to exist.
Yes. So I'll answer the first question first, which is how important is it? And I think it's the most important. I think that it's not something we think about very often. And when you break it down, it's also an environment. So there are certain environmental things we can control, and there's certain lifestyle things we can control. But toxic exposure is just like a sliding scale of how much we can control it, right? Because there's a level in which we have no control over, as far as
Right.
our air. With our water, we can do the best we can. There's filtration systems, but you don't have them with you always, right?
Right.
And there's the food we eat. It's unavoidable unless you're growing your own food, and even then, I'd argue it's unavoidable because it's in our soils to avoid toxic exposure, right? And then you add on the voluntary exposures that we have, and I don't want people to not enjoy a night out with their friends having a glass of wine. And, there are things that are part of our culture, but they add a toxic burden. And it's something we just don't think about very often. And you combined with the busy lifestyles that we have and people not sleeping well, like that's when your body detoxes. And so support, I think, is so necessary. And that looks like, again, everything is very multifaceted. It looks like stress management. It looks like prioritizing sleep. It looks like eating whole foods that are green and bitter, things that you often don't like to eat. And so the solution to bridging that gap again is, okay, is there a supplement that can fit in that space to help my body remove the toxic burden that I can't avoid? And there is. We have something really powerful for that called Purify. And so it's, I think, maybe the least sexy product because people want like to feel better, right? They want something that like, oh, my aches are gone. Oh, I have more energy. Oh, I have more focus, right? And so you might not feel that right away with Purify, but over time, it's amazing what it can do for people. And just knowing that you're taking care of that filtration system to the best of your ability is just going to help your body overall. And it's going to help you age better. It's going to just support you aging, your body and your mind aging well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about three the most is when I was in traditional healthcare and we would prescribe a medication, I would talk about the side effects. I love what proactive wellness does is it is addressing the root. So
Mhm.
malnutrition, toxicity, inflammation, and oxidation. And although people have tons of complaints, like what their major complaint is that they're fatigued, or that they have these aches, or there's a certain thing that they're asking you about. And we're so programmed to say, I need to take this for this complaint. And I love
Yeah.
that proactive wellness looks at the root of the problem. And when they're saying, oh, I have these aches and pains, we're addressing the four things. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, but I'm sleeping really good. I have all of this energy.
Mhm.
I love that the side effects of proactive wellness are positive side effects. I love that when somebody takes something for a specific problem that seems the biggest for them, that they're able to say, oh my gosh, but I got all of this other stuff that I wasn't even expecting.
Right. Well, it's supporting the foundation. You know what I mean? It's looking at really supporting the foundation so that the structure can be strong. If you have foundational issues and you just band-aid things that come up in the structure, eventually it comes apart, right? But
Right.
if the foundation is strong, you can always build, and like the structure is going to be sound from the ground up. That's how I think the best way to look at it.
So I think the best thing to do now that we've kind of talked a little bit about, the foundation or where we find three fits into our busy lifestyle. Let's talk to some people that have experienced three, and let's get their state of how they feel about three. So first, I want to bring on Chris Fluck. He is a certified strength and conditioning specialist. He coaches a local track team. He is a traditional business owner, gym owner. Hey, Chris.
Hey,
Welcome,
hello.
welcome, welcome to the Global Wellness Wednesday.
Thanks for having me.
I'd love to hear what three has done for you.
Well, I think just because when you guys invited me on here, I was fairly busy doing some outside. We have a farm, so I was kind of doing some outside work. So my mind kind of went to how I'm going to handle, um, doing how I'm going to feel after chainsawing stuff and like moving things around. So for one, I like to use some of those products, kind of for the anti-inflammatory benefits. So even if it's working out, um, or if I feel like I'm not eating well, I will take something. Or if I did a bunch of stuff, yard work, and my back or leg or whatever feels not so great, I kind of rely and lean on some of the supplements like Revive. So that's just a personal anecdote is that. I mean, we have so much stuff going on, and I know there's a new product that kind of gives you some energy, right? So, I mean, I kind of lean on some of that stuff because I mean, being a parent, running your kid around, and then trying to have a business, and then we have a 10-acre farm, and trying to just keep up with everything is just a bit too much. And um, sometimes I need a little bit of a jolt of energy in the afternoon. So I kind of lean on stuff like that. And then with other people too, I mean, it's really um, trying to think here. I think it's always like you have to check things out on your own to see whether or not they work for you. So a lot of times when it comes to this stuff, it's you test it out, you try things, and if you feel better, good, it works. And I'm kind of a believer in that, where if you feel better, it's working. You could dive into the science behind things and talk yourself in and talk yourself out of certain things. But if it's working for you and you feel like something is making your life better, then that's good for you. It might not be good for others, but it's good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I
Okay.
love, I love how these supplements, make you feel. And, just touching on the fact that you're working outdoors and doing some chainsaw activity. I know when my husband does stuff like that, if he doesn't rely on the products that you discussed, such as Revive, he's going to be a lot more sore because the inflammation is up so much. Um, Chris, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you had limited time for us, and thank you so much for squeezing us in. I know you are a busy, busy, busy man, but I love that. I know your history, and just kind of getting to know you and knowing that you eat pretty clean. And the fact that you do supplementation on top of, eating really well. Can you just touch a little bit on why, you think that it's important to supplement even when you're eating completely clean or pretty
Yeah.
much
So I mean,
predominantly?
these past. So I'm going to switch hands here. So just these past couple of days, we had company and we went out to eat. I typically don't eat late at night. So this whole thing about inflammation and your gut digesting food, it takes energy to break that stuff down, and there's calories. Um, yeah, it basically just takes energy, and I want to be at rest at night. I don't want to be digesting food while I'm trying to get restful sleep. So we had a late dinner. I just have an issue with over consuming things. So you're overeating later. You don't feel great. I mean, even today I didn't eat yet just because I was on the go, and I'm like, well, if I make it to 6 p.m., it'll be like a 24-hour thing, right? So I'm like, I'm giving my guts an opportunity to rest and relax today by not consuming food. But anyhow, that's one side of it. Yeah, inflammation, I guess, is always there. I woke up the other day after eating late and my hands are a little puffy. Now I'm like, I don't know if it's from what I ate. I don't know if I didn't sleep well. I mean, I was just totally exhausted yesterday. Where 2 nights ago we were out late, we're eating late, tons of food and desserts and all this stuff, right? So you wake up the next day, you don't feel good, and now you're like, you have to take an inventory, like, what did I do the other day? Something probably triggered it. It's usually multifactorial. So whether it's sleep or diet or a combination of everything, who knows? But I even forget what you asked me in terms of the question. So I hope I kind of got on a little bit. I wanna rest. I wanna digest everything that I consume. I don't want to be in a constant state of feeling full, bloated, whatever it may be. So I think the products are good for that regard as well too, where something's not going right, you try some, like I just said before. I mean, you try stuff. If you feel good, go with it.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. See you, Cass.
All
Bye.
right. The next one that we would like to talk to is Ted Fisher. He has a huge background. He was a teacher, a stay-at-home dad. He's a traditional business owner. He's an avid hockey player. I mean, the list goes on and on. Busy, busy, busy guy, right? So Ted,
I try
tell
to
us.
be.
So tell us a little bit about, how 3 has impacted your life.
Well, a couple years ago, my wife decided that we needed to do something different, and she said, "We're going to start this company. We design kitchens, baths, and closets, and I am the installer for most of our closets." And then at the same time, she's like, "Hey, I've been introduced to this health and wellness space, and we really should try these supplements and improve our overall well-being." And as we decided to open this business, an incredible amount of stress, and much, uproar in our life, and changing a lot of different things. And one of the things that I've felt as we were taking these vitalities, like, oh, I actually feel much more balanced than I had before. I haven't been eating fantastically just because of the stress of the world. And that has been a nice, daily routine to, have the knowledge that I'm having, good things into my body, even if I'm not eating the best every day. So that's definitely been, pretty helpful. And as you said, I'm an avid hockey player. I am not as young as I used to be, but I still try to play hockey like I am that young. And I don't know if you know anything about adult league hockey. Our game times are not ideal. Like tomorrow night, my game time is 9:45 is when it starts at night. So it is a late night, and as Marisa said, some of those things that you do, lifestyle choices. Another component of hockey is, after the game, having some beverages. So, that's reducing my sleep. That's reducing my ability to recover. And one of the benefits I've seen with the 3 product is when I come home, I take a couple Revive, and the next morning I don't feel like I'm 42. I feel like I'm 22. And, it has worked for me to feel great to be able to go and do the business side of it the next day. So that's one of the things that I really wasn't expecting as my wife started this journey for us both in these variety of ways that, they would kind of complement each other, and be able to, change our lifestyle in a variety of ways. And I feel pretty great about it, actually. So
I love that. I love that the theme I keep hearing is that, people have all different types of lifestyles. And I love how these supplements, the ease of being able to add it into your daily life, and you don't have to change so much, but you get quite a bit of benefit. You don't hear a lot of people saying, I played hockey last night. I'm a 42-year-old guy, and I woke up this morning feeling like I was 22. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't hear that. Most
yeah, I
people
mean,
are they're getting up and going, "Oh, oh, oh, I shouldn't have done that." You
and I
know?
can attest from, the times I've played, and then, either the kids were asleep, and I, didn't want to wake them up and get to my pills, and the next day it's like, oh man, I don't feel great. Oh, that's why I didn't get the chance to take my Revive last night. So, I went on vacation, and, forgot to bring my Vitality and Revive along, and at the end of the week it's like, oh, I am just not having the energy and not feeling as great as I did before. Sure, it could have been the air mattress. I think I know what it was. So I got home, and the next day it's like, oh, after taking these, I feel so much better. So I can personally feel and notice the difference, from missing it to taking it. So it's something that I'm definitely going to continue to do because I feel the benefit of it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on, Ted. I love that. That's one of the things that I think that's the most impressive about these supplements. We can talk science all day long, but it's how people feel. And if you feel different when you're on them, and then you feel different when you're off them, it you can tell it's making a huge difference in your body. So thank you so much, Ted, for jumping on. It was great talking with you.
Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
I hope you have a great rest of your evening. The next person I'd like to hear from is Lynde Turner. She is a fellow nurse friend of mine. If you look at her title, she is Anywhere USA, because the girl is a full-time RVer with her family now. And I wanted to kind of get her take on the fact that she literally moves her home every couple of days to somewhere new. And the fact that she's always trying to keep her family, healthy, and at a place where everybody wants to experience this new experience of a new place in the USA. So, Lynde, great to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kassy and Marisa. I'm super excited to be here. Like Kassy said, We travel all over. We are currently in Minnesota, just north of the Twin Cities. We just came from Wisconsin. We have hit 42 of the 50 states so far. I don't think we'll be able to drive to Hawaii. I think that's kind of complicated. But I love that 3 fits not only in our lifestyle, but also helps us continue this lifestyle through the business option as well. And what I love about it is it's not only compact, but it's impactful. Every single product is like taking 10 things. And I don't have room in a 250 square foot house that 4 people live in to put 15 things for each of us. Everything is very user friendly. All of the things are travel friendly. And that makes our lifestyle so much easier because not only does it keep me healthier and able to do things, we're very active. We do a lot of outdoor stuff. I just got a paddleboard. Thank you, 3, because they sent it to me because I earned it at convention from my costume at our costume party. But paddleboarding at almost 40 is not something I've ever done. And so I had aches and pains in places that I don't normally have aches and pains. And I love that I can just pop a couple of Revive and I'm going to feel better almost immediately. I love that, like Ted said, if I forget a day or two, I notice. Like I notice in the way that my gut feels and functions. I notice in the way that my brain feels and functions. And I love that I can do this with not just myself, my husband, but also our kids. Our kids use the majority of the products. And in a busy lifestyle like ours, where we're traveling constantly, where we're adding in businesses and doing entrepreneur stuff on the road, we don't have time to be sick. I love that my kids haven't had a single run of antibiotics in years, plural. There is so much to be said for the fact that I can use this for the entire family as we travel across the world or across the country, and it goes with us and it is adjustable and, efficient. Like Marisa said, all of the science behind it as a nurse really gets me excited because I went from a complete 180 from modern medicine. We don't take pharmaceuticals. We don't take anything like that because of what 3 provides. The nutritional gap fillers, when we go out and we go to places, we're constantly bombarded with things. Right now, our air quality is not so great because of all the Canadian fires. I'm immediately adding the detox to all of our regimen. Why? So that we can breathe better because it does have a respiratory component. So it just makes our lifestyle so much simpler, so much easier. It allows us to have health on the road. And that is huge because, like I said, ain't nobody got time to be sick. So thanks for having me, Kassy. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. No, it was exactly what I was looking for because I think people need to understand that, you don't have to change everything about your lifestyle, but when you add things that make you feel better, it makes you even more adventurous because I can tell you the girl that I knew back in healthcare when we were both the structured 9 to 9 24-hour nurse administrators that you and I were, you weren't down to just go out on an adventure. And I'm not sure I would have seen you pick up a paddleboard and fall down 20 something times and get right back up on it and not have a single complaint the next day. So I love that, everything is so much better for you, not just the fact that you have so much family life because of 3, but also because when you're having the family life, you get to experience it wholeheartedly because your body feels so good. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Lynde. It's so good to see your face from so far away. And I love, seeing all of your adventures and tell the family I said hello.
Sure will. Thanks for having me, ladies.
Bye. Okay, so Marisa, before we tune off, listening to those 3 amazing testimonials, is there anything that you feel like you need to add about busy lifestyle, supplementation, anything like that?
Well, I just love that we heard like 3 really different stories, but there was one common theme, and that's that they're all really busy. They're in different places at different times. They have a lot going on in their lives, and they all notice a difference when they add the 3 products into their regime. Chris I know Chris's story, like when he was sharing about poor eating, I know that like Vitality his go-to for that, because it just supports his digestive system. You know, it's got so
Mhm.
many good things in it above and beyond just the vitamins, and then I've known all three of them, right, in different stages of my life, which was it was kind of cool to hear them all on today. But I also know Ted was really reluctant. Rebecca, kind of shoved it on him. She's like, here, take this stuff. And he was like, oh, okay, but now I'll never forget the day she said to me, she's like, Ted asked for the Revive. Doesn't forget it anymore. But I relate.
I love that.
Yeah, we do eat clean in our home. When we can, get our garden going and stuff. But I myself noticed this week, there was many reasons why I forgot to take some of my stuff, and I noticed a big difference. And I was like, my gosh, I have got to get back on consistency because I just feel better, and everybody just wants to feel better. So if you can, what we have here, just addressing the baseline and supporting the foundation. We support the foundation of your health. It's always going to trickle up, right? So that's what I love about what we have here.
One thing I did want to touch on, I wanted to get your take on it. And Chris mentioned it, is the energy drink. So, energy is, such a big thing now. I go into convenience stores and there's a whole big, huge section, even bigger than soda is, like it's
crazy.
crazy the
It's
amount of
crazy.
energy drinks that are on there. So before we sign off, can you just touch a little bit on, the energy drinks that people consume because of convenience and the fact that they want an increase in their energy? Kind of the effects that it could have on them and the differences between the energy drink that we, as three, now have available.
Sure. So I can share that I have never recommended an energy anything in my practice until recently. And anybody who's worked with me will know that, and all my friends would know that. I'm a no never on adding, stimulants, really, caffeine specifically. And it's for a lot of reasons. A lot of people are under a lot of stress. I would argue that most of the population, probably 90% or more, right, has a high level of stress, whether they acknowledge it or not, right? And stress is emotional and physical. So when you take a stimulant such as caffeine, it increases your stress response. And it increases the cortisol production in the body. And cortisol is a good thing when it's being used appropriately in the body. But so much of us are actually out of balance in that space. And so it increases anxiety. It can increase anxiety. It can increase poor feeling. You crash in the afternoon, right? So most people that are energy drinkers or caffeine drinkers or coffee drinkers, they tend to drink them throughout the day because they're getting the boost, and then they're having the crash, and then they're getting the boost, and then they're having the crash, and they're getting the boost and having the crash, and then they don't sleep well, right? And so for me, it's always been a no never. I'm a really hard sell on it. And when we released Kinetic, which is our new product, I was like, oh, but then I heard the science, which if you're watching this and you want to learn more about it, it's awesome and amazing. Someone can share a little video with Dr. Dan with you. But then I was like, I'll have to take one for the team. I don't drink energy drinks. I'm not a caffeine drinker. I tell people that if I have coffee that's caffeinated, I feel like I'm schizophrenic and also having a heart attack all at the same time. It's not a good picture. It's not a good picture. It's not a good feeling, right? So for me, I was nervous drinking it for the first time, but I also knew what was in it, and I knew all the benefits. And there are ingredients in our drink that support a healthy cortisol response, that actually fight adrenal fatigue, which is something else that energy drinks tend to cause, that has no synthetic caffeine, because the body responds to synthetic caffeine very differently than natural caffeine. It can build up and cause lots of issues. So I thought, okay, I have to take one for the team so that I can share my experience, and hopefully, I don't have my normal experience. And I was shocked that it actually made me feel calm.
Yes.
Shocked. I even had a conversation with Dr. Dan about it. I was like, oh, we have to talk about this, because I just felt a heightened sense of Zen, kind of. Mm-hmm. And what that looked like for me was a quiet brain. It took me a while to connect that feeling, you know what I mean? And it's not that I was ready to go to sleep. calm. It was like that my brain was quiet so that the rest of me had that calm feeling, you know? So for me, I actually love it. I love the testimonials I've heard from it. You know, we've had people that are like, "Oh, I've got terrible focus issues, squirrel brain," and they're sharing that that's really helping them with that. I never felt a spike in energy, and I was like, you know, I have my Fitbit on. I'm like, "Oh man, I gotta let me look at my heart rate." And I'm like, "Oh wow, my heart rate's like in the 60s. Like that's cool." Like, you know,
Yeah.
so for me, who's like, I'm very analytical, and also I was nervous about my own. I love it. I love that it's packed with B vitamins. I love that it has adaptogens to help your body with the stress response throughout the whole day, not just, you know, with. I love that it has ingredients that neutralize the negative aspects of caffeine, like that increase in cortisol. I love that it's supporting the adrenals because all of us are in that space of adrenal fatigue, you know? So there's
Right.
so many amazing things about our new drink that just don't compare. And what's on those shelves, they're loaded with sugars. If they're not loaded with sugars, they're loaded with artificial and synthetic ingredients, artificial sweeteners that have been shown to do things like increase cancer rates, increase GI disruption. There, a lot of them are promoting taurine as if it's a healthy benefit, but there's now studies that show that taurine actually is a source of a lot of cancers. You know, so there's a lot of not great ingredients in those cans. And so I've never looked at them because I've never had any interest in them, but I've been looking at them lately and I'm just shocked by what's in them. Some of them are like over 200 calories with like anywhere from 26 to 50 plus grams of sugar. I was like,
Wow.
what? And artificial colors. I mean, all I can share is I definitely am still a no never on recommending any can you're going to get off the shelf, but I love what we've brought to the market with Kinetic, and I feel like it's giving people a really wonderful alternative to
Right.
really shift what they're putting in their body.
And on theme for, you know, live in a busy world, it's a little packet that stays in your purse. You know, you
Yes.
can carry it wherever. You can keep it in your truck. You can, the ease of consuming Kinetic is so simplistic. And I love that for all these, you know, the busy people that we're talking to. You know, we're talking to you out there, all you busy people. So I love that. Anyway, you and I could talk for hours, and we're going to let people get back to their evenings. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and, you know, hearing about three. Make sure that you get back with the person that invited you to join us tonight and get a little more detail. So we're going to sign off, and we thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Marisa, before we sign off?
No, thank you so much for having me, Kassy, and good night or good morning, everyone, depending on where you are.
Yes. All right. Good night.